Okay, let's go ahead and do one more example of multiplying polynomials by monomials. We're going to do example of number 4. Solve equations with polynomial expressions. Okay, so we've got two examples here. I'm going to pause now and give you a little bit of time to write those down before I go through each step with you. Go ahead and pause the video and copy those down. Okay, now you've had time to write those down. Let's go ahead and walk through them together. We've got negative 16p equals negative 2 times the quantity p plus 3 times the quantity 6p minus 30. Now I know that sounds really confusing. So let's break that down into the steps we have to take. The first step you have to do is the distributive property. We want to get rid of those parentheses. So we're going to take the negative 2 and we're going to distribute it to everything inside those parentheses, just like we've been doing in all of our previous examples. So we're going to take negative 2 and multiply it by p. We're going to take negative 2 and multiply it by 3. So we get negative 2p minus 6. Then the next step is to use that distributive property to get rid of the second set of parentheses. So we're going to take the 3, we're going to multiply it with 6p, and we're going to multiply it with negative 30. 3 times 6 is 18, so we get 18p, and 3 times negative 30 is negative 90. So now what we have is negative 16p equals negative 2p minus 6 plus 18p minus 90. It's a lot easier to deal with this one because we don't have all those parentheses muddling everything up. We want to take our like terms and combine them together so that negative 2p and that 18p, we're going to combine those together. That's where our 16p comes in. And we're going to take our negative 6 and our negative 90, and we're going to put those together, which is where we get negative 96. So now we have negative 16p equals 16p minus 96. We can use our algebra skills to subtract negative 16p from both sides, where we get negative 32p equals negative 96. Divide both sides by negative 32p, and we get, or not p, just negative 32, sorry, and we get p equals 3. If you have any questions on any of those steps, make sure you write them down now so that during your class meeting, you can get your answers. Let's go ahead and look at the next problem. Negative 2q times the quantity 4q minus 9 equals q times the quantity negative 8q plus 15 minus 3 times the quantity negative 4q minus 6. Again, that looks really intense, but all we have to do is take each part of it by itself, use that distributive property to get rid of those parentheses, and then we can start simplifying the problem down and make it easier to work with. So let's start with that negative 2q. We're going to distribute that in with those parentheses there. So negative 2q times 4q and negative 2q times negative 9, which gives us the negative 8q squared plus 18q. Then we're going to move to the other side of the equal sign, and we're going to do the same thing. We're going to take q and distribute it with the negative 8q and the 15, which gives us the negative 8q squared plus 15q. And finally, we'll do that with the negative 3, distribute it with the negative 4q and the negative 6, which gives us a positive 12q plus 18. Remember, a negative times a negative is a positive. Now we can combine our like terms. The negative 8q squared stays by itself. It does not have a like term, so you notice it just drops down. 15q and 12q becomes 27q, and 18 stays by itself as well. The next step is to add 8q squared to each side. So we're going to go ahead and do that. And when you add negative 8q squared plus 8q squared, they cancel each other out. So we have 18q on the left and 27q plus 18 on the right. Subtract 27q from both sides because we want to get all the q's together. We get negative 9q equals 18. Divide both sides by negative 9, and we get q equals negative 2. Again, if you have any questions at all, make sure you write those down so you can ask your teacher during your class meeting to get your answers for those. To ensure that your answer is correct, substitute it into the original equation and verify that the simplified expressions are equal. So what they want you to do is they want you to take that negative 2, put it back into the original equation for B, and see if it works. See you guys next time.